Professor Holmes, which serial killer do you think was the most dangerous?
That's a difficult question because if you measure dangerous just in numbers, it's my friend Seth who killed 10 score plus 2. There's so many. Albert Fish, John Wayne Gacy, Jerry Brudos. Bundy, I guess, has to rank in there too. His numbers are kind of, I don't want to say low because that minimizes the suffering that the victims went through. But I think what separated Bundy from some of the other ones, especially Gacy, is that he blended so well. He was a young Republican. I'm a Democrat. So I think that had something to do with it. I don't know. I'm kidding, okay? But he blended well. He was accepted by people at all levels of life. He presented himself so well. He put people at ease so well. I think he was a real hazard. But there's many of them, many of them. And it's not restricted to the United States. Gosh, India, Germany, England, Pakistan, they're all over the place. And most of them kill because of this deep, overwhelming urge that impels them to do what they do. And the only way that they can find any kind of release is to kill. You may go play golf, or you may go out and play tennis, or you may run 5 miles, whatever it is. It doesn't work for them. They have to kill. And I don't know what causes it. And if somebody says A, B, C causes it, they're lying, because we don't know. I wish we did, but we don't know.
I guess if you distinguish dangerousness, one facet would be the intensity of their personality characteristics, if you took that in consideration.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I think, what is it about them that impels them to commit so many acts of cruelty and death? And the scary thing about it, there's no protection from these people. You can protect yourself in a certain way if there's a mass killer around. You can protect yourself from certain killers by your own agenda. What do you do? For example, I saw a TV show the other night that advises people how to use their ATM machine. And if you use your ATM machine in a shopping center, it's much safer than going to your local bank on a street corner and walk in a little room and withdraw your money. But from these kind of people, everybody's a potential victim. It's not just young girls. It's young boys. And it's older people, people like me, or people like my wife, or middle-aged people. We're all potential victims.
Do you think that there's a relationship between dangerousness in regards to the number of victims? So were there dangerous serial killers who just didn't have the numbers? Or did they have the potential to be dangerous, except they were just caught early?
Yeah, I think you're right. Most of the people that you'll see killed 14, well, he was caught when he was in his late 20s. Suppose he'd never been caught. The more successful you are, the more apt you are to keep on repeating what brought you pleasure, gratification, and success. And you're going to keep on doing it. Not if you're caught. But these people don't stop. Look, picture the most pleasurable thing that you do, that you receive. Got it?
Running.
Don't tell me, okay? I doubt that is, but that's okay. The most pleasurable thing that you do. Okay, you can't do it anymore. Nope, can't do it anymore. Why not? I said so. How you going to feel about that? You going to do it?
Yeah.
Sure you are. And for Bundy and for Gacy and for Woodfield and for, Henry Lucas and all these people, it's the most pleasurable thing they do. How dare you tell me I can't do that again? The most pleasurable thing I do, me, is fantasize about Anne Murray. Annie and I do terrible and bizarre things with each other. Now tell me I can't fantasize about her anymore. You're nuts. I'm going to. I might have to go someplace else, maybe another room to do it in. Not to do anything else but just fantasize. But boy, it's great. It brings me enjoyment. Or I can never have another donut in my life. What's the first food I'm going to crave tomorrow morning? A donut. Why? Because you can't do it.
Did you see that when Ted Bundy first got caught?
Oh, yeah. Look, he didn't go to Florida to get caught in. He went to Florida because that was a new hunting ground for him. I hate it when I see these people talk about, well, Bundy went to Florida to get caught because the death penalty was more apt to occur down there than it was in California, although they had the death penalty, or in Oregon. No, he didn't do that. He did that because that was a fresh hunting ground. If he went down there not to be exposed to his ideal, to his ideal victim type, young girls with long dark hair parted in the middle, why in God's green earth would he live 3 blocks away from the main campus at Florida State University? Happy hunting, right there. I'm just guessing, 10,000 potential victims within 5 blocks of where he lived. He knew what he was doing.
Professor Holmes, who do you think that Jack the Ripper was? Latest news about the DNA evidence?
Oh boy, I don't know. I've studied Jack for probably the last 15 years, and I don't think he's the one that came to the United States. I think he stayed over there. Swigert, maybe, not the royal family member. Don't know.
Have you read the latest news about the DNA in the clothing?
Yeah.
Professor Holmes, what do you think about unsolved crimes like the Zodiac Killer?
Well, there was a confession on the Zodiac Killer. Probably him. There's a lot of unsolved murder cases. I go to Murderpedia a lot, and just looking for serial killers. But what frightens me about that is Seth, who killed 202, is not in there. And several killers. These are not only serial killers; they're mass killers, spree killers, one-time killers. A lot of the people that I know who are in prison for murder are not on that list, and they're alphabetized. All A's, all B's. They're not selected by state or murder. They're just alphabetized by last name. So if a lot of the ones that I know are not there, how many are not there that other people know about? Scary.
Have you ever profiled a case that was left unsolved?
Oh, yeah. I wish you hadn't asked that. That doesn't make me look good. But, sure. But see, I only talk about the ones I'm successful on. And I charge. I have to tell you that. I get a bag of jelly beans for each murder case I do. That's true. I'm not kidding you. My wife won't let me buy jelly beans, so I get them that way.
Professor Holmes, what made Aileen Wuornos prominent amongst serial killers?
I think because of there hadn't been a female serial killer in like 10 or 15 years. There's been a bunch of them, before that time, and a bunch afterwards. But her crimes were a little different than the ordinary female crime, because the ordinary females will kill their husbands or their boyfriends or their children, often for economic reasons, or because they're just scared to death of the person. Aileen Wuornos killed like many men. She got picked up on the highway in Florida. She would have them drive her back into a wooded side road off the expressway, and then she would have sex with them and rob them and kill some of them. She didn't kill all of them, but she killed some of them. So, and I think people got a first-hand televised look at this person, because we normally don't think women do things like that, but women do.
So she became prominent because based on the severity of her crimes?
She committed a man's crime. Yeah. Men do this. Women don't do this. Well, yes, they do. Yes, they do.
So
I've been married for 52 years to what's her name. I never, ever thought about divorce. Murder several times, but never divorce. And the reason for that is my religion doesn't permit divorce. But all I have to do to get rid of her is kill her. And then I go to the priest the next day, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I'll never do it again. And I get 3 Our Fathers, 3 Hail Marys, and 3 Glory Bees. I never do it again. Weird. Strange.
would you also assume that her celebrity was based on the issue of being not matching our assumptions of female serial killers?
Do you have a thing for Aileen Wuornos?
No.
Yeah. Yes, you do. Okay. Yeah, I think so. I think so. She opposes the common beliefs. What really hurt her, okay, it wasn't only the killings. She was lesbian. And that came into play too, although not a whole lot of people realize that. Had she been heterosexual, I doubt she would have got the death penalty. I don't think so. But that came out during trial, and her lover turned against her. So it was Now, I wrote her a letter too, and asked if I could interview her. And she said, sure, she'd be very happy to. It would cost me $10,000. So you can see where her mindset is. Take these guys back in the woods. Why? To get their money. Talk to this guy over here. Yeah, $10,000. And she couldn't keep the $10,000. I would have to give it to her lover at the time.
If I had a thing, it'd probably be for Charlize Theron.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Professor Holmes, what distinguishes the thought process and motivation of serial, spree, and mass murderers?
Okay, let's define each of them first. Okay, the spree killer kills three or more people within a 30-day period. A mass killer kills 3 or more people one time, one place. Serial killer, 3 or more in more than a 30-day period. Okay. Now, typically, if you have a spree killer or let's just deal with spree. Spree oftentimes occurs in families where one comes in and just takes out the whole family, or during the course of a series of robberies or burglaries, particularly robberies, and they silence the witnesses by killing them. Mass murder has oftentimes an element of hatred or of vengeance against a certain type of people, not John Jones or Mary Smith, but a certain type of people. For example, prostitutes causes venereal disease. I'm going to kill all the prostitutes. I'm going to put them all in one place and gas them all at one time. three or more one time. Serial is killing a group of people, three or more, in more than a 30-day period. So you got one time, one place, more than 30 days, less than 30 days. Now, what did you want to know?
Well, beyond that, just the thought process that's going in their minds. For instance, you have the mass murderers, Anders Breivik, and then Martin Bryant
Right.
out in Australia.
Right.
Can you elaborate on that?
I'm not real familiar with them. I know who they are, but we had a fellow in town, Joseph Westbecker. And Joseph Westbecker worked downtown at the Courier Journal building and came into work one day and killed 7 people. And I'm not going to say forced the police to kill him, but he got what he deserved, I think. Usually with a mass killing, it's accompanied by a sense of anger or rage, where you're going to take out these people who are really bad people. Now, they may not be bad. They're probably just wrong place, wrong time. The guy out at the McDonald's in California, gosh, I can't think of his name, went into the McDonald's and killed 16 people. And he didn't know any of them. But he was so angry at American society that he was going to teach them a lesson. I don't know what that lesson was. But it was in his mind, if I go in and do that, then I've done the world a good, because I'm so upset with this group of people.
Of those 3, which one fascinates you the most?
Serial, yeah.
Professor Holmes, media has focused on recent mass murderers, even though the prevalence of these events has decreased. Is there a way to convince the media to present a more representative portrait of violent crime?
No. The media won't do that. If you look at the newscast, the newspaper, the television news and stuff, they grab you. And they want you to read this or listen to this or stay with me. After the commercial, we'll have the story on, whatever. They're in it not to provide you with the best of information, but to capture your attention so you'll pay attention to them just for a short period of time until after the break. And then we'll go to another story. Happens all the time.
Recently, there's been an attempt to not focus on the individual that committed the crime, rather more focus on the victims.
I think there's a movement now, especially in sociology, where we're looking at the role of the victim in the perpetration of the crime. What did I do to set myself up to being a victim? Not to excuse the bad guy, but what did I do? For example, if I'm walking down Preston Eastern Parkway at 3 a.m., and a person comes up from behind me, puts a gun to the back of my head, and demands my money. Whose fault is it? A lot of people are going to say, what are you doing down on the Eastern Parkway at 3 o'clock in the morning? Do you have a right to? Here you got a right, but where's your common sense? And we've been teaching that for years. I don't have daughters, I have only sons. But if I had daughters, I probably would have reared them a little bit differently than sons. Because you feel that, just the way we feel about the genders. I think that if you look at a lot of the victims who have been victimized, there's a lot of people who are saying something, how did you contribute to your own victimization? If you went to the ATM machine in the mall, instead of the ATM machine at Preston Eastern Parkway, right outside, what's wrong with you? And I think that's where we're at right now.
Professor Holmes, do you take into account cultural differences when profiling a crime scene? Yes,
you do. One of the things that I do, I want to know the composition of the neighborhood. Is there a certain group of people that are one gender, okay, or one racial profile, or another? Because I think that certainly has some ways of doing things, some suggestions or how the person's going to react.
How about from an international perspective?
Well, probably you're not going to have too many serial killers who come into this country from Pakistan or Indonesia or India or, places like that. So basically, I think what most of us do who are profiling, we're going to make an assumption that this is an American citizen. Now, he might not be a guy from Kentucky or maybe from Florida, but he's from, the United States. So I think we do make that assumption. And maybe that's not a valid assumption to make.
So would crime scene characteristics be similar in the U.S. compared to those that you find in other countries?
We're a lot different than England, I can tell you that. I've done several profiles for London and some other cities over there, and they're different. They're weird and strange, but they're different.
How so?
Well, I think over there they don't pay as much attention to body posturing as we do. I told you about the young lady laying in bed with her hands, above her like that, which suggests to us that perhaps there's a relationship between the victim and the doer, and the knee imprint on the pillow suggests a relationship between the victim and the doer. And there's a lot of different things. If, for example, this says something about the relationship, but this says something more. There's more hate here than there is over here. The closer to the center of the face tells us two things. The relationship between the victim and the doer. So if I'm killed over here, he may know me, but not real well. If I'm killed here, he knows me and he doesn't like me at all. There's something happened that suggests that we are breaking up, or maybe we never even knew each other, but he thought we did. So you pay attention to the location. If it's in the mouth, take a look. If it's in the mouth, bad guy didn't do it. She did it. Now maybe he forced her hand like that, put the gun into her mouth. But still, that shows a dominant type of personality. So all these things, you just throw them all together, throw them against the wall, and see what lands on the floor.
So with that said, the profiling techniques that you have compared to those profilers in the UK are dissimilar?
Yes.
How about from other countries?
The only ones I've worked were Germany, Spain, Portugal, Norway, Scotland, and England. Those are the ones I've worked with. Ireland was bad because they were always drunk. Please. I know you can cut that.